The U.S. Food and Drug Administration authorized the first pill today for an at-home COVID treatment to prevent hospitalizations. High-risk patients who are 12 or older and weigh at least 88 pounds will be eligible for the medication from Pfizer if prescribed by a doctor. The company says it cut the risk of hospitalization by almost 90% if it's taken within a few days of initial symptoms. White House officials said today the initial supply of the pill, known as Paxlovid, will be limited.
We will have 265,000 treatment courses of Pfizer available in January, with monthly totals of pills ramping up across the year and all 10 million treatment courses delivered by late summer. Just as we've done with vaccines and monoclonal antibody treatments, we will ensure equity is at the center of antiviral distribution.
We'll have more on the pandemic after the news summary. In the day's other news, the Biden administration extended its student loan repayment moratorium until May 1st. The pause has allowed tens of millions of Americans to put off their debt payments during the pandemic and was set to expire at the end of January. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki explained what factored into the decision.
Millions of people across the country are still struggling with the ongoing threat of the pandemic. Many of them are student loan borrowers. This is something the president's thought a lot about over the last several days in coordination and, of course, conjunction and discussions with the vice president, and it led to the decision to extend till May.
And we'll have more on this later in the program. The U.S. Secret Service says nearly $100 billion has been stolen from pandemic relief funds that were intended to help struggling businesses and unemployed workers. The agency is investigating more than 900 cases of possible pandemic fraud. The lost sum is less than 3% of the total funds across pandemic benefit programs. As the pandemic rages on, a record number of Americans are signing up for health insurance through the Affordable Care Act's marketplaces. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services reports 13.6 million Americans signed up for coverage between November 1st and December 15th alone. Enrollment remains open until January 15th. Overseas, new COVID infections in South Africa are falling, a sign that the country's Omicron-driven surge might be past its peak. Last week, the country reached a high of nearly 27,000 new infections, but by yesterday, that had fallen to around 15,000. Medical experts said that the drop could be due to how quickly the highly contagious Omicron variant spread early on.
We had a lot of infections, so people really start creating immunity in the community, and so there are not that many susceptible individuals that will be infected.
More than 44% of South Africa's adult population is fully vaccinated. Libya's presidential election scheduled for Friday is now being postponed. That comes amid ongoing disputes and the Election Commission's failure to put forth a final list of candidates. It is a major setback to ending the violence and the division that has plagued the North African country since 2011, when its dictator, Muammar Gaddafi, was killed in an uprising. In Madagascar, at least 83 people were confirmed dead today after an illegally overcrowded cargo ship sank in the Indian Ocean. The incident happened early Monday morning off the country's northeastern coast. 50 passengers were rescued, but 5 others are still missing. Back in this country, the U.S. House committee investigating the Capitol siege now wants to interview Republican Representative Jim Jordan of Ohio, one of former President Trump's staunchest allies. The committee is seeking details on his communications with Mr. Trump on January 6th. He is the second sitting member of Congress to receive an interview request from the panel this week. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has opened an investigation into Tesla vehicles over a function that lets drivers play video games while the vehicle is moving. The probe covers about 580,000 electric cars and SUVs. The agency says that the feature, called Passenger Play, could distract drivers and increase the risk of crashing. The nation's economy grew 2.3% in the third quarter. The Commerce Department said that is up slightly from last month's 2.1% estimate. It attributed that rise to stronger consumer spending and replenished inventories. And stocks rallied on Wall Street today, boosted by gains in the technology and the retail sectors. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 261 points to close at 35,754. The Nasdaq gained 181 points. The S&P 500 added 47. Still to come on the NewsHour, how an expiring child tax care credit could affect many families' finances. A civil war rages in Ethiopia as the government rejects calls for a ceasefire. A new exhibit chronicles the struggles of displaced people, plus much more.
This is the PBS NewsHour from WETA Studios in Washington and in the West from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism at Arizona State University.